What's up, everybody? It's Michael and Jevonne.
Hey.
We're back. Welcome to the Show Up, Show Out podcast. We're going to dive right into it. Today, we want to talk about the real definition and 7 traits of trust. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, one of the most important things you need in any relationship is trust.
Yep.
However, in a marriage, it is one of the cornerstones in the foundation of a marriage. And when it's broken, it is extremely hard to build it back. It really is, no matter how you put it. However, though, although hard, it's not impossible. But what is trust? What does it really mean when you say that you don't trust someone? How do you give the specifics as to what is lacking? In this episode, we're going to break down trust, so you will be able to accurately understand what exactly is lacking when you don't trust. This way, you will be able to identify what in the trust equation needs attention and will be able to focus on doing the work to get it right. Go ahead and get some paper and pen out because we guarantee you are going to want to take notes.
Yep.
You feel like a vacation. You feel like everything I've been wanting and waiting for. And every day I'm wanting more. Even though we had a minor slip-ups, we are never, ever giving up. Got the modern Gina kind of love. The real shit that comes from above. And my friends ask me how I know that you are the one. I know you're the one. I know you're the one.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show.
That's right.
It has been a minute. And on the last episode, we said we were not going to take a minute to come back
in the holidays. It's just the holiday season.
The holidays, and then we had some other stuff we were working through. Yeah. So, our bad.
Great things, of course.
Our bad. Right. But we are back, and here it is. Literally the end of 2022.
Wow.
I cannot even believe it.
I came around pretty fast.
You ain't never lied.
Yeah,
this year has gone.
Will be here like in the next
couple of days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
2022 went past like woo, like it was bam.
Right.
So we wanted to come on in these last couple of days and give you guys some really good nuggets.
Yeah, pretty much.
To close out 2022 and actually come in the new year strong.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about the definition of trust and the components or 7 traits that make up trust. Now, when we were going through rebuilding our relationship, we didn't actually have this little tool here that we actually use this in our mentoring sessions, but we actually did it.
We did.
Regardless.
We did. Yeah.
And so it was kind of cool that when someone kind of put our eyes on this and we saw the different traits, we were like, oh, dang, we did that.
Yeah.
Kind of stumbled upon it in our own
But the way
experience.
it was broke down was very powerful.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So powerful. Like I said, we actually included it in our mentoring sessions for our couples.
Yep.
So we wanted to bring that to you guys today and discuss it briefly so you can kind of get a little bit of what we're talking about when we talk about trust. Because it's more than just, I don't trust you.
True that.
Nobody knows really what to take when you say, I don't trust you. Like they do. They know what they did. But it's like, what exactly are you missing?
Right.
So this is going to help a little bit, or at least we hope it's going to help a little bit. So the first thing I want to do is go over the definition of trust and distrust.
Right.
So we found someone basically shared with us a video that was done by Brene Brown, and she is a motivational speaker, a personal development coach.
Yes.
I love her. I think she's amazing.
She is.
And
she truly is.
It's just a 9-minute video, and she goes over the trust definition, the distrust definitions as told by or explained by Charles Feldman. So let me give you those first. So trust is choosing to make something important to you vulnerable to the actions of someone else. Right? Let me say that again. Choosing to make something important to you vulnerable to the actions of someone else. That's trust. And distrust is what I have shared with you that is important to me is not safe with you.
Ooh.
That right there like stings.
Both of them is deep.
I'm gonna say that one again. What I have shared with you that is important to me is not safe with you.
Wow, that is so many people out here. I mean,
right? And it stings. Like it makes you
does.
feel like some type of way, like
does.
your significant other or your child or a close person telling you that, like what's important to them is not safe.
Yeah.
With you, but that truly is
what it is. That's what we deal with on this world.
You ain't never lied.
A lot of people deal with that, and that's why you get into a lot of situations in where your relationships are not built on that trust factor for things to be the way they should be in all aspects of building your relationship and making it better. Because you got some hidden things in your closet. I mean, we all got hidden things in our closet, but you decide to open that door and let those things out to your significant other.
Exactly.
You know.
So though that's the definitions of trust and the definition of distrust. And then what she also shares in that video is the acronym of braving, my bad. The acronym of braving. And what that is those are the 7 traits of trust, and they are boundaries, reliability, accountability,
vault, integrity, non-judgmental,
and generous,
and what we like to say, grace instead of generous.
Exactly.
Right.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about each one of those and what they mean to us, and how you can really implement them into your relationship when you're rebuilding trust, and also not even rebuilding, but just making sure that your trust with your partner is what you really wanted and need for it to be.
Right.
So boundaries. What is a boundary? A lot of times when we are doing our mentoring with our couples, they're like, what is that? What is a boundary? So we are, especially me, but we are analogy king and queen over here. And we do that because we like to be able to break things down in a way that people can totally understand stuff. So that being said, boundaries.
Think about having a house.
Yep.
And let's put it this way. You know how everybody always talk about what's that one dream you want to have with your significant other? They always used to talk about a white picket fence in a house. Think about that white picket fence.
Right.
That is your boundary zone. So everything within that white picket fence is your safe space.
Yep.
So once you open that gate to go outside of that safe space, it's like you crossing that boundary.
Right.
Think about it that way. It's just like also a child being in the yard. You tell them, look, I want you to stay in this yard. These are your boundaries. If you go outside of that parameter, which is meaning outside that gate, anything can and could happen to you.
Right.
So you tell them to make sure that they stay within the certain boundaries around the house instead of going outside of that zone area, because if not, something could happen. That's basically what it is in a relationship.
Right.
Making sure that you stay within your boundaries of your relationship. In other words, don't do something that your partner and you haven't set a boundary for, basically of you stepping outside of it. So if they say, look, hey, I know you like to go over your cousin's house and there's certain people around, please don't go over there. Go over there without taking me over there. That's a boundary that they're setting, because they know ultimately that if you go over there, then you will get yourself into some trouble.
Or could get yourself caught up.
Especially with them not being there.
Right.
So they're asking you to set that boundary. Or it could be something as simple as, hey, I know what you did wrong, and so I need from now on, I need your phone to be displayed out so I can see it all the time.
Right. Or one that you had with us before anything ever happened was, don't let the opposite sex in the home front when I'm not there. That's a boundary. That's a real boundary. Those things, that you set, sometimes people think it's just implied, like you just should know. Yeah. No, don't do that. No. Set boundaries.
Make
so you both
clear.
Know, this is how I feel. Right. This is what I want it to be. You both understand each other, and you both can agree to that boundary. And it also makes it so when you're out and about and you're doing stuff and things might come up, it's in your head that, dang, I told her I wasn't going to do this.
Right.
Opposed to, We
Yeah.
never talked about it. You know it's wrong, but you
Right.
ain't say nothing.
Right.
So you just keep moving ahead.
That's right.
So that is what boundaries are. You know, there are boundaries that we have, you know, even down to, you know, back in the day your parents, well, I don't know now, but back in the day your parents said be home before the street lights come on. That's a boundary.
It is. Because there's a specific time they want you to be there. So.
And it's to keep you safe.
Right.
That's what a boundary is for. It's to keep you safe.
That's true.
As safe as possible. Meaning if you don't go outside the line, outside the gate, outside the fence, you're less likely to get caught up in stuff you shouldn't be caught up in. Point blank period. So make sure that you and your partner sit down and set some boundaries. And you both need to look at the boundary, understand the boundary, agree to the boundary.
Right.
Before you just move forward.
Right. With that being said, next one we want to break down is reliability.
Yes.
Make sure you're reliable. Make sure you're reliable in the things that you say as well as the things that you're going to do. You know the saying, they say actions speak a lot louder than words.
Yep.
It's very true.
It truly
is. A lot of people can talk about what they're going to do and how reliable they're going to be, but it's the action behind what you're saying you're going to do that proves more than anything how reliable you truly are. So that's
the doing.
That's simple.
Right. It's the doing opposed to the talking.
It's that simple.
And also in that of being reliable, and please note that being reliable is doing what you say you're going to do. 99% of the time. And when you can't do something, letting the person know, that's still being reliable.
It is.
It's letting them know, hey, I know I told you that I was going to do A, but I'm not going to be able to do that.
Right.
You know, can I do B, or can we compromise and can I do C?
Right.
It's letting them know opposed to just leaving them high and dry. So being reliable in your relationship, someone that your partner can count on doing what you say. That's right. Also, if you can't do it, letting them know you can't do it.
That's right. All right. Accountability is the next one up. Everyone should basically hold this word accountability as very high in their relationship.
Totally.
Or just in their own general life, even if they're not in a relationship.
Definitely.
You should always want to be accountable for your actions and the things that you do, but also be accountable for hold other people accountable for the things that they do
that
wrong
they do
to
as
you,
well,
right? And that's just what it really simple is, just being accountable, saying, look, step up and say, look, at the end of the day, I did what I did. I'm owning it. That's accountability.
And I think a lot of people are afraid to be accountable these days. They want to deflect.
Yeah.
They want to project.
Yeah.
They want to, put it off on somebody else. Well, if you hadn't done A, B, C, I wouldn't have.
Right.
Bullish.
Well, why you ain't take your parents coming home? Example. Well, why you ain't take the trash out, Tom? Well, Melissa ain't take the trash out. Well, we not talking about Melissa. We talking about you, Tom. Exactly. You was the one that was supposed to take trash out. Right. Today is your chore day. Be accountable for what your actions is. Don't sit there and deflect and put it on somebody else. No.
Be accountable no matter what and no matter who.
Yep.
Be accountable for what you do and your part, what you brought to whatever situation, what your participation was.
Right.
Be accountable for it.
No matter how much it may hurt. All right.
Exactly.
Moving on. The next one is real big. Vault.
Heck, they all are big.
Vault. Well, yeah, they are all big. But vault is
very
vault
important.
is more like deep. Let me put it that way.
It's important.
Because what vault is really talking about is it's like a safe. It's a safe. In other words, me and my wife have things that we talk about. That's not going to, our vault is within our relationship, meaning that I'm not going to talk about specific things that we talk about outside of our relationship to others.
Right.
That is between me and her.
Right.
That's the way it should be. And what happens is a lot of times that when you go through certain things in your relationship, instead of trusting and connecting with your partner to be able to talk about the situation, and be as vulnerable as you can,
knowing it's going to stay right there,
knowing that it could get crazy, you tend to, this is frustrating, you're not understanding me, so then you want to go outside of your relationship and start telling somebody else what's going on in your relationship to get their opinion. You just basically let them in your vote. because
Yeah.
you're letting them in the house, in your household, and as well as in your relationship, and it's none of their business.
None of their business. And what happens is when you do that, then you are allowing somebody else to be in your business to the point where
Exactly.
they are going to look at you and your partner differently. You're basically soliciting to them, saying, you can now tell me whatever you want to about this particular situation because I went out to you first.
Right.
And it changes the way they look at your partner, or it can
Right.
change the way they look at your
Exactly.
partner. And your partner then feels some type of way.
Yep.
You know, whenever you're going through things, you need to keep it between the two of you, unless the two of you decide, we're going to go talk.
We're going to step outside of this vote.
We're going to
and tell
talk to
someone
somebody
go.
else.
Right.
Exactly.
But that goes all the way back to the first thing we said: boundary.
Yep.
That's all
Yep.
it is.
It's all connected, and
Yep.
it's all important.
So, good. Moving on. The next one would be integrity.
Oh my gosh,
that is
it's
so,
so huge.
huge. In other words, it goes into all of this. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, when you're holding yourself accountable, you're showing your integrity.
And when you have integrity, you're being accountable. Like literally,
as well as reliable.
there you go.
You know?
Being a man or woman of integrity is doing the right thing when no one is
looking.
watching.
That's right.
Knowing that God is always watching.
At all times.
That's how I learned the definition, like not the Wikipedia or
Right.
encyclopedia dictionary definition, but I love this definition that I heard from a pastor because I think it really hits home. Like, are you doing the right thing when no one is looking?
I know I did. I know I've said in the past before. I remember a time when, I was working at my job and I came across some money. I could have kept the money. Could have pocketed the money and been on my way. But no, I didn't. And nobody would ever know.
Yeah.
And maybe they would have known. But two, I wouldn't, it could have been a setup. It's so many scenarios that go into it. But instead of being that way, I decided to go give it to the head boss. And they were shocked. But it showed what type of character I was. It shows the type of person I was and who I am.
Yeah.
So.
And integrity will always lead you to doing the right thing, which, of course, like we said, will hit pretty much all of these traits. So do the right thing.
That's
when no one is looking.
Always.
And you're going to be good.
Yep.
You're going to be good.
1,000%. Trust in that. All right. This is a big one because a lot of people out here do this. We are all judgmental.
We are.
So instead of being so judgmental, how about being non-judgmental?
Yeah.
Meaning stop judging people.
Yep.
In other words, stop judging other people because at the end of the day, I get that we all go through pain and misery and certain things in our lives. But you got to understand some people pain causes them to be the way they are and show their actions or show their true colors.
Yeah.
But who are you to judge them when you've already gone down the path yourself? And sometimes you got to have grace and just look at the situation and understand that, look, they're a broken person.
Yep.
And they need to be healed.
Yep.
And so until they're healed, they're going to be hurting.
Right.
And so that's you being non-judgmental because at the end of the day, you know that they might have done a lot of bad things, but who are you to be judging them?
There's no need to pass that judgment on people. I mean, you can have your opinion of people.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be around people because of that opinion, because of what you see them displaying or whatever the case may be. We're not saying that you have to condone everything that people do or be around everyone no matter what. If you feel negativity, if you see negativity, if someone's toxic, then of course you stay in your lane.
Exactly.
However, you can do that without judgment. You can do that without gossip. You can do that without talking about them. You know what I mean? You can just stay in your lane, keep it moving without doing or saying anything about that person in a bad light where you are passing judgment on that person.
What they say, if you don't have nothing better to say, then you
don't
shouldn't
say anything at all. And that goes for scrolling on social media and leaving comments too.
Yeah. Like what's the point? What's the point? We live in a world where people are so judgmental about everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think if we lived in a world where there was less people, if the world was full of non-judgmental, the place would actually be a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And
like you said earlier, most, we say it all the time, most hurt people hurt people because they've been hurt.
Yep.
And when you're talking about your partner, your significant other, and you know their past, or maybe you don't, you need to figure out what is their past like.
Right.
What was their childhood like?
Right.
Figure that stuff out. That's what we kind of pull out in our mentoring as well, is what was your past like? So when you're in when we're doing this couple mentoring, you can see what each other's background is all about, so that you can work on this right here of not being judgmental, realizing what pain they had to endure, what situations they had to overcome that might actually gear them up to doing some of the things that they do.
That's right.
You know, and seeing it from a different light. So this one is well, they all are important, but this one definitely is important in its own right. So
the last one we're going to get into is generous, or in our own other words, we say grace instead of generous.
Right.
Excuse me. I feel like you have to give grace to everyone.
Yeah.
You have to
including yourself.
Right. And, you have to be very vulnerable and understanding that, hey, we mess up. Mm-hmm. We're not perfect people. So, right. We're not perfect people in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Mm-hmm. But even though you may have done things wrong and you've made mistakes, and once you walk through that fire, meaning that you did the work you did whatever work you had to do to rectify the situation, to come out on the other top, happy, and just that's when you feel that full of grace for yourself or grace for the other person, because they proved to you that at the end of the day that the things that they said they were going to do and how they were going to be versus in reference to them changing, and reassuring you that it's all about the trust and accountability and make sure you keep that vault safe and always having that integrity and never being judgmental, but basically always being non-judgmental and setting those boundaries. You just want to have nothing but grace. Yeah. Because you're in a world of peace. Right. There's nothing else to truly worry about. I mean, of course you're going to have things in life you worry about, but you're getting through a situation that was tough. Right. And you came out on the other side. Mm-hmm. Floating like you on cloud 9, because it's a great feeling. And note that in that in between, where you are working on your relationship, where you're rebuilding trust, where you're reestablishing your relationship, that's where you have to learn where and how to give grace when things get tough. There are going to be tough moments. There's going to be setbacks. You're going to have your thoughts that come into play and take you back down a road that you don't want to go on. And when that happens, your partner needs to give you a little bit of grace, rather than sitting there being like, why are you thinking about that and being upset? No, give them grace. Or bringing it back up. Right. Give them some grace. Look what they had to deal with because of your actions. You know what I mean? Like, give each other that grace that God gives us when we mess up, when we say we're not going to do something again, and here we are doing it over and over and over and over and over again. See your partner for who they are in terms of all the work that they're putting in and the actions and the doing, like we said earlier. Look at what they're doing. And if there's a setback, a mild setback, give them some grace. Right. Give them some grace, and then start over the next day and continue to do what you're doing. And all of this comes with patience. It truly does, because at the end of the day, you only know what you can and cannot deal with. If you cannot deal with the situation, the best thing to do is to back away and back out of the situation in the most calmest state of mind that you can, to not put yourself in a position to make that situation blow up. Right. Make it worse. And that toxicity just break into a whole nother level. And then you're dealing with other things that you chose and you didn't want to deal with. Now you got to deal with. Right. Right. This is that. So, and everybody patience is in different. It's different in different stages. Different stages. So, I may be more patient than my wife may be on certain things, and vice versa. But you know what you can and cannot deal with. But it all starts with, trust. Mm-hmm. You need to talk to each other. You need to. The communication is the biggest thing, people. If you can communicate, you can take care of all of these things. Boundaries, reliability, accountability, default, integrity, non-judgmental, generous, or grace, as we say. Mm-hmm. You can do these things. Yeah. Have patience with each other. Talk, and if you can't agree to disagree. Come back the next day and talk about it when you have cooler and calm, level heads. Yep. You can do it. And now that you guys have these traits, these components,
Now you can tell your partner, I don't trust you because you're not reliable, and you can work on that, set boundaries around that. Tell them what you need from them around them being reliable. Or you can, hey, I don't trust you because, you don't keep our business to us.
Yep.
You don't have that vault.
Yep.
That vault is not closed. It's not secure. So now you have an opportunity to voice exactly where trust is lacking, opposed to just saying, I don't trust you. Now you can give them clear cut, this is what we need to work on.
Right.
And then talk about that. And there might be some areas with these 7 components that you're fine in. And there might be others where you really need to work on them.
That's right.
And with you having this now, you can go out and make your relationship better by working on those areas and focusing on them.
True that.
So we hope that this has helped you. I know for us, it has helped a lot of our clients,
Right.
and they're like, wow, their eyes are just open up.
Because when you really truly
this
break down this video
it.
and watch it, it truly opens your eyes up in a way that you never thought it would open. If you're truly paying attention to it, and
right.
if you're truly opening your mind and your heart to listening.
Right, and to wanting to receive the information.
If you don't do that, and you still want to be with this, I ain't trying to hear this stuff, but I'm going to look at it just to look at it.
Right. You're going to miss it.
You miss it. You're going to
it.
miss what the points are, the key points is, and you're not going to care because you already got this mentality that it don't mean jack. So you've already tuned out. So at that moment, if you've already tuned out, what's the point?
Exactly.
People, be more open-minded. Everyone can grow. Trust me. I am living, breathing proof
Total
that you
example.
can change.
Yeah.
Like, this is real talk.
Yep.
I had to go through it. I did wrong in my relationship to my wife, but now I'm on the other side. It's work, and every individual heals in their own time, in their own way. But I walked the walk through the fire I had to.
And you did so with me supporting you, changing, wanting to heal, wanting to see you on the other side, and you going out and asking for Heavenly Father to be there with you and making the necessary changes that you needed to make. I think that, we sometimes don't give ourselves credit. I hear people always throw around the whole once a cheater, always a cheater, or once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, or whatever. People can change if they want to. If they want to put in the work and they stick with it.
You got to have a drive.
You have to have a drive, and you have to have that stick-to-itiveness as well.
It really ticked me off knowing that certain people didn't believe in me. Certain people said I would never change. I mean, just hearing all of that. And I just like a real life movie where you see a person, there's something they use to motivate them. I did exactly that because at the end of the day, what I hated was people only seeing the bad side of me. People didn't truly did not know how good my heart was.
Right.
Because of what I've done and the things that I've invested in that were bad. But once I came to the other side, the people who truly loved me, I saw them and they saw me and they were there for me and they still believe in me and they are riding with me
you.
to this day.
Yeah.
But it broke me away from a lot of things and a lot of people I didn't need to be dealing with. But I'm not sitting here being judgmental on them, because each and every person that I did wrong to, even the people that may never accept that they also did wrong and had to they played their part, that's fine. I'm taking accountability for
what
my
you
part,
did,
for what I've done.
Yeah.
And I don't hold no ill will towards nobody, and I hope everyone forgives me for the things I've done. And even if they have not, I will say this again. I apologize for my wrongdoings. But I had to do what I needed to do to heal myself and to be the man that I knew I could be for my wife and for my family. And that's the most important thing to me in this world, is them. And nothing, and I mean nothing ever will come between that for me to ever be able to break my trust with my family, especially my wife, ever again. I love her that much unconditionally, and I'm thankful and grateful each and every day, and this is where the grace comes in, because I'm grateful for her. She could have chose any other path to not even have me a part of her life, but she did. She never gave up. She never stopped fighting for me.
I didn't choose that other path.
Right. I mean, I'm saying you could have chosen any other path.
And I didn't.
But you didn't.
Yeah.
You chose just to ride or die on this journey with us. It's not even a path. It's a journey with us.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful. She is my hero. I will forever love her. She is everything to me. And I'm just grateful and thankful to be here. And I just want to give back. And I want everyone else to change and believe in their relationships and knowing that each other can change.
Yep.
And I'll leave you guys on that note, because that's my little last ditty, before the end of the year. So
yeah, well, we might actually come back with something else, y'all, with a surprise bonus before the end of the year. But we felt like this episode on trust was very important for us to get out before 2023.
Right.
Y'all, love your partners.
Yes.
Love your spouses.
Yes.
If you choose to get through whatever you're going through, it doesn't just have to be infidelity. Whatever trial, whatever issues, if you choose to get through it, be there for your partner and help them heal and become the man and or woman that they were created and called to be. Y'all, love them. Build that trust.
Yep. Make that choice.
Make that choice.
Make that
Bring
right
God
choice
into your life.
Yep.
Spirituality, whatever you believe in, and walk the walk. Don't just talk about it. Do what is necessary for you to make your relationship better, because you can do it. And don't listen to the freaking naysayers.
That's right.
Just be you and your partner. Hold that vault. So we hope you guys have enjoyed this this episode, that you've gotten some nuggets of wisdom from it. And if we don't come back before 2023, Happy New Year.
But just know in the new year, we coming stronger.
Yes, sir.
We're going to be more consistent.
Yes.
We're going to make sure that we are being the voice that we need to be for whomever needs to hear us, or listen to us, or need the help.
Exactly.
We're here.
Yep.
You know, we want you to understand that we all out here need help, and it's okay to ask for the help.
Yep.
All right.
And if this resonated with you, make sure you subscribe and share it with others.
To the Show Out podcast.
See you guys next year, y'all. Have
Peace
a wonderful
out.
New Year. Bye-bye.
Diamonds, they see us shining. Hashtag couple goals, catch us on the gram, we hop